Welcome to Bible in the Beacon Hotel. Here we are with Rabbi Herzl Hefter, Rosh Beit Midrash of Beit Midrash Har El in Jerusalem, in memory of Belda Lindenbaum. Numbers chapter 19. In this chapter, the Torah introduces the most famous chok, or edict in the Torah, that of the red heifer, whose ashes were sprinkled on the head of someone who came in contact with a dead person. What do you make of this edict?
There's so much to this edict. I would focus on the fact that there's another sacrifice which is called an edict, and that is the Paschal sacrifice. It's also called Chukat HaPasach. And there is an fundamental organic relationship between the two, because the korban of the red heifer is a necessary prerequisite for the bringing of the Paschal sacrifice. And that's why in traditional congregations we read the chapter of the red heifer before Passover, because it's necessary to become pure before one can actually bring the Paschal sacrifice. And then the question is, what is the relationship between the two? Because we have a necessary prerequisite and we have the strategic goal. And there are those who read the red heifer as a symbol for all of the commandments of the Torah, which are necessary prerequisites for the Paschal sacrifice, which is read as a symbol for the positive relationship with God. So we have a negative commandment of not to be impure, which is solved by the red heifer, and we have the positive relationship with God, which is symbolized by the Paschal sacrifice. And then the question becomes, which takes preference? Which is greater? And we might have said that the Paschal sacrifice is greater because that's the strategic goal. But the world in which we live is the world of the red heifer, where we must purify ourselves, and there's so much attention paid in the Torah, not only to narrowly speaking of the rituals of becoming pure, but all the commandments are really designed to edify human beings so that they can ultimately stand before God. And that is the symbolism of the red heifer. There's an analogy to this in the Ten Commandments, where the first two commandments, the first one being, I am the Lord your God, and the second one, the prohibition of idolatry, of Lo Yeh Lecha Elohim Acherim, where one might say that the prohibition for idolatry should come first, because how can one be steeped in idolatry and know God? But if you only try and only working on purifying yourself, right, nobody can purify themselves entirely. So what you have to have is a little bit of loving kindness. You have to give yourself sort of the benefit of the doubt and say, even though I'm not pure, I still have to stand before God. And that's why Anochi comes before Lo Yeh Lecha. It gives you the consciousness of standing before God is what actually gives you the energy that is required to purify yourself, to purify yourself from whatever your idolatry is. So what we need, even though the para comes first, it comes technically first before the Paschal sacrifice, we have to know about the Paschal sacrifice. Because why are we doing all this? And there's a danger that we just get involved in doing it and we don't know why we're doing it, that it becomes empty. So you need both these things. You need the work, but you need to know why you're doing it. You have to be able to live in both realities at the same time.
It gives you the energy, and it also gives you the self-confidence,
right,
to be able to stand before God.
Right.